Hey everyone, and welcome back. We're going to be talking about how we can keep on improving on this delivery app. Now, we left off at list transitions, and now I really want to get into something a little bit more interesting. I want to apply some motion design principles that we talked about earlier. I'm looking to do some masking here, a little bit of parenting, and then I'm going to be focusing on some overlays. So let's jump right in. As you can see over here, I have several assets from the main designs, and I've kind of started to break them out. Let's look at what we have. So you may notice that we have this new card that I've designed. And the reasoning for this is because Figma has a little bit of a bug when it comes to applying a mask. And what I'm trying to do here is when I click this button, we are going to jump right into this screen. And what should happen is that this image over here will expand, and we're going to actually marry the two between these frames. So we'll see a nice smooth transition from one to the other. So let's get started. One thing I want to do beforehand is actually focus on making this feel like a whole button. So what I'm going to do actually is I'm going to duplicate this frame. I'm going to leave this one as the original because I'm going to do something interesting here. I am going to create outlines of all these different layers. I'm going to remove the auto layout, and then I'm going to select both of these text layers, and then I'll do an outline stroke, because what I want to do is I want to click this card and have it shrink, and you can't really shrink the text. So we need to actually turn them into vectors. Same thing with this button here. We're going to remove the auto layout, and we're going to make the text outline stroke right there. So now the text, we've made it into a vector. And we're just going to select everything as its constraints to be scale and scale. So we have the button. We're going to do the promo copy. The constraints will be scale and scale, and that allows us to scale everything. Okay, this one is fine. We'll do scale and scale here. And I think that is enough. So what's going to happen is this is going to be the first frame. We're going to copy another frame over. And we're going to shrink this just a bit. Just like that. And what we're going to do is we're going to modify the drop shadow. So I'm going to make it seem like it's gotten closer to the background. Like so. And then I'm going to take that first frame and duplicate it one more time. Perfect. I'm going to just move all these frames over just so we have a neater place to work. I'm going to bring this down with the rest of our designs. And you'll have all these designs as well, so don't be afraid to go ahead and use them. Okay, so this is the other design here. Let's actually move these out of the way for now so we don't focus on them, and let's just work on this button really quickly. So we're going to go to flow starting point. We'll just rename it masking and overlay. That's going to work for now. And what we're going to do next is we're going to click this button, bring it over. We'll just do 100 milliseconds, smart animate. We're going to select the whole frame and use an after delay. And we will keep it at 1, just so we give the user some good feedback that they've clicked the button. So let's press play and see how this turned out. Oops. Okay, I think it's called Flow 1. We'll go back to that. So we have a nice little interaction there. So I think that's good enough for now. The next thing that we're going to do is copy that name. It's weird that we had a flow starting there. Okay, let's just rename this to that. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to transition into this page. So what I've done is I've kind of already started here a bit, and I've created a new frame, and I've used this same type of design, but I just kept in mind that all the other imagery here has been removed. So it's just going to dissolve as we use Smart Animate. But the other thing is this promotion frame, I've left it here. Let me just go into my design panel. So I've left it there, and you can use it like this because I think it's actually perfect. We'll just animate to here, and this image is going to extend beyond, and we're not going to clip the content. So we're going to keep it unclipped. So that's going to happen much more naturally, since we're not going to be scrolling into positions. If we were to, say, click from here while we've scrolled this page, we'd get a very weird interaction and animation going. And it's just the way Figma currently is. Until you can preserve the scroll position across Smart Animate, you're going to just run into that issue. Right now, there is no workaround. And the only thing I found that works the best is having something like fixed within the main screen where you don't scroll, and click that and just have that static. So it's always going to come from one spot rather than scrolling and clicking it on a list that's up here at one point or in the middle. So we just keep that content as static as possible. So back to the promotion frame in here. I've also removed everything inside of it. So you'll notice I removed it. So it's not there. The only thing is the image that scales. I've also added a couple of things. So let's take a look at this whole frame. So we have an overlay description there, which is this frame on the right. We're just going to keep that there for now. We'll actually copy this frame over for another video, and we're going to remove that overlay description for now. So that's perfect. We have a gradient, just so the image isn't so harsh, and I changed the background color as well. So that's been changed. So this is the only thing that's there. And then in the next frame, what we're going to do is we're going to start introducing the controls. So we have the controls at the top, and then we have the carousel controls over here. And then we'll use an overlay. So let's jump right into the prototype here. So some of this is actually connected a bit. What I'm going to do before I look at those connections to make sure they work, I'm going to just attach this frame. So after we click this button and it pops back up, we're going to quickly jump in to this screen. So we'll do an after delay like that. And we'll just do a smart animate. Then we should do another after delay. So I already have one set. And that's going to be perfect. And then over here, we'll do one more after delay, and that will allow us to do a little bit more with this overlay. So I have this as an independent frame. And the way you can do it this way is probably the most popular way to do overlays, is to select in this menu, instead of navigate to, you're going to select Open Overlay, and you'll select this frame as a destination. And then you can select the different places you would like it to come from or appear. So I have it at the bottom center, so it's going to be popping up over here, and it's fixed at the bottom. The only problem with this method of using an overlay is once it's up, it acts like a modal, so you won't be able to actually apply interactions to these buttons. You'll be able to apply them, but when you actually have those buttons hooked up, they won't work. And that's because this kind of adds like this imaginary frame behind it, which nulls everything. So that's the only caveat about using this. So we have it moving in. It's not just going to be a smart animate, because that isn't even an option with overlays. So I have it moving in from the bottom at 300. So let's take a look at what this is going to look like. So I'm going to press R to restart. So that was really nice. Let's actually tighten this up a bit. I think we can allow a little bit more. So I have 300 milliseconds now. So I really like how this image comes from that card. So we'll do it one more time. And that just seems much more natural. And that's how you can create a really nice masking and parenting effect, where this is married to this card, but also you make a nice connection from page to page. And then here comes the overlay at the bottom. Let's take a look at the overlay. And just comes in really nicely, really smoothly, and then you can interact with that in any which way you want. And that's how you create a mask and an overlay in Figma.